Guess what? We have ourselves even more surprising news. The Pittsburgh Penguins have hired Kyle Dubas as their new president of hockey operations. This was literally announced minutes before the Toronto Maple Leafs had their press conference GM release with Brad Treliving, so it's kind of evil, honestly, seeing how the Penguins timed everything to go down. But the reason we're making this video is because we have ourselves a little bit of a story to go over. Because after this hiring process of Kyle Dubas came to light, we had ourselves a lot of people bringing up this quote from a few days ago. Kyle Dubas said, "I definitely don't have it in me to go anywhere else." He says he'll either return to the Toronto Maple Leafs or take some time off. This was 2 weeks ago, on May 15th, back when he was the GM of Toronto. But a lot of people are going out there saying, wait a minute, Kyle, what are you talking about? Time off or Toronto? It's Toronto or nothing? Only for you to pretty much get fired by the Maple Leafs and Shanahan and then head over to Pittsburgh? Well, there are a lot of other elements to this entire story. This is the reply that I wanted to go over. Carly Koliakovo says this, "So it's pretty clear now why things fell apart in Toronto. Best of luck to Kyle." We have ourselves Jim, who replies, "What am I missing? What's clear about this?" Then you have Leafs for Life saying this, "Kyle Dubas was playing Toronto. His presser was a negotiation tactic that true Leafs fans can tell. He used his family as pawns. Changed the deal with his agent at the 11th hour after he said he'll come back to Toronto." Then you have yourselves even more of a discussion in this same post. Shanahan saw his childish behavior in his presser and actions following. Kyle Dubas, it says KD. I almost said Kevin Durant. Yeah, okay. That's kind of tough, isn't it? Kyle Dubas and his agent always knew he had Pittsburgh lined up, hence the last-minute deal change, LOL. Now, I'm not going to go out there and say that this perspective from Leafs for Life is 100% accurate, but it is a pretty sort of telling explanation as to why everything went down the way that it did. So, if Kyle Dubas really did have this Pittsburgh thing lined up, and Shanahan saw right through that, only to give him the can, it gave Dubas a bigger incentive to go out there and sign up with the Pittsburgh Penguins, rather than lay low and just be with his family for a while. It is interesting as well because people are noting this is not a GM position with Pittsburgh, it's a President's of Hockey Operations role, and that's a little bit more chill than being a GM, or at least from the perspective of us fans, it's a little bit more chill because you're not going out there making trades, you're not signing players, you're not doing everything directly yourself. That's going to be the guy under you, the GM under you, who does all of that work, and Kyle Dubas being above that is a good career move for him. Let's go out there and go over some quotes from the new president of Hockey Ops, Dubas himself. He mentioned that one of the most exciting parts of his upcoming role is working with the talent at the Penguins. He mentioned he already spoke with both Coach Sullivan and Crosby prior to making his decision. Dubas, on if the Penguins will also be hiring for a GM, "My intention is that I'll handle that on an interim basis through July, and then we'll go through candidates and make the decision that is best for the hockey department." He also says, when it comes to evaluating Tristan Jarry, "I will rely on Andy Chiodo, the goalie coach, and Mike Sullivan about what he's all about as a person. I'll try to meet him and get to know him myself. Then we'll be doing a very thorough evaluation of Jarry and review where he stands in the marketplace." That's where it is. That's a big priority because goaltending is vitally important. Dubas also talked about what he's looking for in his players. "Sully and I had a very brief discussion on this. The top end of the forward group is very, very good. Do we need another piece to put us over the top? Then it's what types of players do we want in the bottom half of our lineup that can deliver the game to those top players in the way that we want. And then, on defense, it's going to be going through and seeing what we need and if some of the younger players can step up. That's how I see it over the next couple of weeks." Penguins fans, it's good to have some transparency on what it is your team is going to be going out there and doing. But you had yourselves even more quotes from Kyle Dubas. He said that he'll handle all the GM duties on an interim basis until July, and then he'll begin to go through candidates. He wants somebody progressive as a GM. He also says, when it comes to the idea of the Penguins still being contenders, the way I view it is that if people want to bet against Mike Sullivan, Crosby, Malkin, Letang, and others, they can go ahead and do so. But I'm going to go on them and go with them here. I do think that it's a group capable of contending to win a championship, and I do think we need to build out the depth of the group and supplement the greatness those people bring each day. There you go. Even more direction being highlighted here by Dubas. He also says that Sullivan can coach forever. He is a great coach. There's no real expiration date on Mike Sullivan. Then there was the Jarry quote. We already talked about that. Kyle Dubas also talked about his final Maple Leafs presser. Maybe I was a bit too honest that day with how I was feeling in that exact moment. But that's in the past. And okay. Definitely interesting to go out there and note that. Kyle Dubas essentially saying, yeah, I was too honest. Too honest in my last press interview with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Maybe that's why everything went down the way that it did. I like this reply from FlyGuy7. He goes out there and says this: sharing controversial feelings that are temporary or transitory is rarely the way to go. Honest in the moment, but then a day later, what you said may no longer apply. That's a nice little life lesson to go out there and internalize for anybody who is in the general managing position of a National Hockey League team looking to get an extension. But either way, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Kyle Dubas heading over to the Pittsburgh Penguins. He is now the president of hockey operations over there in Penguinstown, and it comes after a very controversial end to his Toronto Maple Leafs tenure. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.